Hey, wait. Before you skip ahead, just to let you know, you can actually watch the full version of this on our Patreon, and you can actually watch next week's episode a full week in advance. I mean, it's very easy. I mean, right down there in the description, or right up here in the corner. Feel free to give it a click, and we'll see you there. Well, this is a episode that I actually talked about in the last one. I forgot. I couldn't remember. I knew it was before episode 20, but I couldn't remember which one it exactly was. This episode in particular is one of my favorites because of just how out there it is, and just how crazy it gets.
I like crazy, and I'm out there.
Oh yeah. So I think you'll like it a lot, and that's also why I think this man right here will like it a lot. Andrew and Chad, I mean, yeah, they haven't seen this series before. That's not been made clear from the very beginning of us doing this. But honestly,
it wasn't apparently because someone on episode 3 commented, "Is like, has the guy on the left already seen the show? Why is he on the couch then?"
Hi, I'm Nate. I run the channel. Also, this is Nick. He's editing these things. And by the way,
we've both seen it before.
We have seen it
before.
We're
here because we want to be.
That abundantly clear. We've seen it before. If you have not been paying attention, get out of my classroom. I'm sorry. Sorry. Nah. Just so you know, that's the situation.
We've never seen it.
Yeah, they've never seen it.
And two.
The middle of the couch has never seen it. The edges of the couch have. So, there you go.
I'm here just because I want to watch Cowboy Bebop again.
Same here.
And I think that should be perfectly acceptable to you.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, hell, even
I'm offended.
I mean, hell, even Blind Wave,
I'm
hell,
offended.
they have series where people have sat in and are rewatching it again, and they don't give spoilers away. We're not giving spoilers away. Am I giving spoilers? Guys, have I given spoilers?
I don't think anybody said anything about spoilers.
No. But that's one reason why people say, "Oh, if you reacted to it before, you shouldn't be watching it again." It's like, it's just like almost like the same thing with me and you watching One Punch Man. People have said that on there.
No,
I bet that it's like, oh, spoilers. I was like, aren't you afraid Nate will give away spoilers? I'm like,
no, because he's not an asshole.
I'm not a dick.
well, it's a lot easier because
Like some
when you
people in
have
the
some
comments.
people who've watched the show, for me and Chad, if there's something we didn't kind of understand or something, you guys give a pretty good synopsis on what the episode was about.
That's like it made it so much easier for me to get into Game of Thrones because I watched the first episode with Andrew and I just was like, "Can you pause it for a second?" and just asked him questions about what the fuck was going on.
Yeah, it helps.
And
what the fuck
he already
is
knew
going
everything that was going on. So.
Yeah.
And then we got to the last season and both of us didn't know what the fuck was going on because we were just confused at that point of how it went so south.
I think everybody was.
Well, we were all upset. Well,
Nothing's
sense.
worse than Dexter, bro. I don't care what anybody says.
fair enough.
I like to
I've
pretend
seen
that Dexter is just one season long.
Yeah, that'd probably be the best thing
I've seen
to
Dexter,
do.
and you know what? You're right.
The
You're
first
right.
season of Dexter is great. After that, meh.
I think I've seen up to 2 or 3, and then I didn't watch it again.
Yeah, abandoned shit before the last one. Holy
I
fuck.
couldn't even get through 2. I was just like, this is just not as good.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, thankfully we only have one season of this, therefore no concurrent seasons to ruin it.
Right?
So, we are now.
I'd be totally cool with them bringing it back at some point, though.
I would. Well, Watanabe's talked about it. He talked about it like back in 2012. They asked him on a radio interview, "Would you ever consider bringing it back?" And he said, "Maybe, someday."
There are
maybe.
multiple space sci-fi bounty hunter / outlaw shows that more than one of those that I wouldn't mind at all to see come back. Obviously, so
Yeah. Well,
even if they fuck it up the second time around, it's better than not trying at all. You know, like I could just pretend it doesn't exist if it does suck. So.
Like GT.
or
Yeah.
second season of Big O.
I think even the creators pretend GT doesn't exist. It's
Yes.
Yeah, Toriyama doesn't acknowledge it.
Yeah.
That's why he did Super. Because FGT.
But it's like what they should do with Firefly is just throw Serenity out and
Restart it.
yeah, like just pick up where the first season left off and do one more.
Yeah.
I mean, technically the Reavers was a very cool story element added to them to an extent, but at the same time also made them a little less intimidating. Like they're still intimidating, but it's just like you just kind of think of like people saw some crazy shit at the outer edges of space. Spoilers for Firefly, by the way, if you haven't seen it in Serenity, but yeah, it's not as cool as just them seeing some crazy shit on the outside edges of space and going insane from it. It's different. But yeah, I don't know. Anyway, Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah, this is Cowboy Bebop. So we're now at the Mushroom Samba, episode 17, and you know what? Let's just see what's up. Here we go.
Jam.
Emergency rations for a true emergency. Saved for the last of the last resorts. All I'm asking is who ate the food that was in this container? Was it you by any chance?
I will leave the empty box lying around as evidence.
We're out of fuel, end of story. If we can just hold out a little longer, our inertia will carry us to Europa.
At this point, even iron looks good enough to eat.
They're like a peanut?
Good.
Hey! Well,
Man.
someone just crashed
Some
into him.
crash.
Hit and run.
Ain't that a bitch?
Oh,
Fucking
fine.
assholes.
Isn't that what they call a hit and run?
We're fragged!
Oh, that didn't sound good.
8271s are particulate
What's wrong?
respirators.
It hurts. I got a pain.
This is a joke. These rations expired a year ago.
It's a good thing I didn't eat them.
Serves you right. It's
It
poetic
was Faye.
justice.
Faye stole the rations.
What's the plan?
For sale.
There's nothing here. Ah! It's that hit and run ship! Ah! Smell food? Ah! Food!
How her feet are not burning to death on that blacktop is beyond me.
1,000
Right.
oolongs each.
Don't have
Close
that.
to it. Got calloused
Then
feet
you
or
don't
something.
get no melon.
But that red hair means she probably burns easy. So I don't know how that works.
Don't bother with the change. But if you see this man, give me a call. I'll show my appreciation.
Nice car. Stowaway. Huh.
Casket?
Every day you see a man dragging a casket around.
We'd like to check your baggage, please.
Is there a problem?
A mushroom dealer running from the law. We got word he might have come here.
What a coincidence. I'm after the same guy for that nice big bounty.
You're a cowboy?
What?
All right.
Hey!
Free!
Now wait a minute.
All right, stay still.
I don't know anything about
Put your hands on the ground.
You heard him.
As I say.
Uh-oh.
Boy, is that hungry. Huh?
Oh, well, look who it is.
Meanie!
Hey! Huh? Ha! Now don't tell me that you've forgotten who I am so soon, Domino.
I don't remember you.
No? Do you want to know why I drag an empty coffin like this wherever I go? Because I'm putting your corpse inside it.
Oh, bruh.
Wow.
This is
Bruh.
Much for that.
My older brother ate a mushroom that he bought from you, and then he laughed until he twisted his intestines to death.
Happy way to die, I see.
Shut up! Yeah? Then eat this, fool! No! Hey! Get your butt back here and fight like a man!
Uh-oh.
food. Hey, wait
Oh,
a minute.
Ein, no! It's one of the funniest images you will ever see.
Hasn't learned her lesson yet, huh?
Conducting a test.
Delicious.
Hey, well now, This thing can't really be here, can it? So I can't really be faulted for eating something that's not here.
Sound logic.
Just swiped it. Oh, nimble fingers. Oh. He tripping him.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Oh, I've been there.
Hey, the world really is a great place.
I've been there too.
Oh, wow. Did I just say something?
Oh, no.
Hey, mister.
Uh.
This here is the stairway to heaven. You know that, don't you?
Obnoxious little frog.
Into the toilet I go. You just had to say that, you ass.
The secret of the universe is so simple. Oh, man. By the way, just who am I anyway?
Really?
Is this dude, Domino Walker, wanted
Hello.
on 6 planets for selling illegal mushrooms?
Hey, we saw him. We'll get the reward and buy food. You're a cow woof woof. Here we go.
I want that scooter.
So a kid and a dog you didn't know were in your car.
At this point, I think the watermelon can be left as long as she's got her key.
All right.
She can bug out. Yep.
Watermelon's delicious. I took that
Oh, look at him eating the ice.
shit. Unless it was a seeded watermelon, then I might leave it. Fuck those seeds.
Brain freeze.
Yes, that's what happens when you eat too fast.
Hey, it's that hit and run ship.
They never dreamed I was raising these right in here. This one's bad. Oh well, landing here was a big mistake, but I just...
Are you surprised? What are you doing in here?
That's my line, kid. How'd you sneak into my ship anyway?
The door was open.
Huh?
All right, hit and run driver. This is a bust. Stinky gas.
You didn't think about that, did you, Ed?
Wow.
Here's the stinky cow folks.
All kinds of watermelon.
Oh, damn.
You're not getting away from me, Domino!
Bounty, never mind.
He wants to dead.
Never mind, I forgot.
Yeah. See,
There's a gif of that. That's one of my favorite gifs.
Sorry. Y'all now.
Let go of my bag! Let go!
Oh, shit.
Oh, they're in a bad way.
I gotcha!
These mushrooms are worth 100,000 each. Me or the shroom? What's worth more?
I don't know.
What? Are you a total ass? Take the mushroom!
Is that a rhetorical
I
question?
don't know.
Spike comes to it. He's like, how the hell did I get... They're wrapped up in toilet paper.
Lipstick.
Adds up to some pretty serious money.
Do you know a man named Domino? He deals in illegal mushrooms.
I'm afraid we wouldn't know anything about that.
I'm sorry we can't be of any help, officer.
Don't do
Ed
it.
knows about it.
Spy!
Stand aside, please.
Damn it.
Guess you folks really like shiitake mushrooms. Huh? Well, sorry to bother you.
What'd you make?
Shiitake stir fry, shiitake stew, shiitake salad, and shiitake on ice.
Well, they got food out of it at
I've
least.
never tried that, so I'll try it just to be curious. Yeah.
Shiitake on ice.
Yeah. Somebody was like, "This is the thing." I'd be like, "All right, I'll try cold mushroom."
Life
Fuck
is
it.
but a dream. As a famous YouTuber I admire once said, mushrooms are just meat that are pussies and haven't committed to being meat yet.
That's a way to look at it.
Actually, I remember who that was now. That was Total Biscuit. Oh, I just made myself sad. But, yeah. A lot of stuff in this pays tribute to blaxploitation films.
Yeah, they were going a little heavy with the watermelon.
Well, not really heavy. I mean, yeah, she bought a watermelon in the middle of the desert. I mean...
And then the guy steals a watermelon truck.
Yeah, and then she's in the police station sitting there with the watermelon. I'm just like, all right, we see the watermelon. I got you. Good job, guys.
But again, that would be me with a watermelon if I had one.
If I,
Right.
yeah,
delicious.
dude, I'm gonna eat me the shit out of some watermelon.
But just knowing, how in depth this anime is and how things are specifically put places for a reason, I'm just kind of like, really?
Yeah, I see where you're going from.
Okay, got you. Now, understanding that is one of the most, racist cultures probably on the planet. And the most, we are better than every human being on the planet mentalities is coming from Japan.
In some ways, yeah.
You can't you can't not be Japanese and move there and become a citizen. They have signs literally on doors that say, if you're not Japanese, don't bother even trying to come in here. Like, we'll know if you're Korean.
Really?
I'm
just joking. I'm
not.
fucking
I'm
around.
100% serious. There's a lot of them that say, if you're white or black or anything other than Asian, just don't even try to come in here, period.
It's weird because I've also heard that
Yeah.
if you go over there as a white guy, it's actually pretty easy to get Japanese girls interested in you just because.
Oh no,
you're
definitely
exotic to them essentially.
Definitely.
But
there's also the people who are. It's like the way it was described to me is it's like having a new purse. It's like a material relationship. It's not really I see you as a human being. It's more like you're my prop for now type thing.
Yeah, it's like you're the newest fad for now, and when I get tired of you, be gone.
Like being overly nice too to mentally handicapped people and stuff. Just being like, you're not on my level, so I have to talk to you real. Do you understand? Like that kind of.
You see, and being around my granddad, I actually ran into people who were like that because my granddad was paraplegic.
Yeah.
And we ran into a lot of people like that whenever we went to Walmart, whenever we ate and went out eating at certain places. People were just so over courteous to him, where he was just always. You know how fiercely independent this man was, even into his 60s and being in the wheelchair for more than 30 years, he would still not park in the handicap spaces because he did not want to be treated differently.
I can understand that.
That is how diligent of a man he was, and he just didn't want to be seen as an invalid. They didn't have the you and me went to the same high school.
Mm-hmm.
They did not have the ramps there when my mom graduated high school. So you know what he did? He pulled his ass out of the wheelchair, sat down on the ground, folded it up, threw it up the steps on the auditorium, and one by one got his ass up there, opened it back up, put himself back up in the wheelchair, went in and watched my mom graduate. Because my grandma was working. She couldn't be there to help him. and no one would help him because,
Well, I've just heard from a couple of people, that have lived there through the military and that it's like really cool for a while because you think that everybody's just like super nice, but then you realize that they think that you're like mentally handicapped, like on a lower level of intelligence, like or lower level of humanity almost.
Elitist cultures are like that.
Crazy.
Yeah,
I've been around some elitist cultures who are like that. Like certain sects of gamers are like that, and I've been around them. And the very moment you pierce their bubble of superiority, it's like ultimate freakout mode. There's like, quite literally, and honestly, I've actually witnessed. There's actually a guy who did a hidden cam thing while he was in Japan, and he heard them talking Japanese, and he actually had it set translated to where you could hear what they were saying. They were saying some pretty heinous stuff, but he knew how to speak full Japanese.
Yeah.
So it was like an aha moment. It was just like I don't appreciate you saying that about me.
There's this one video.
He's like, oh.
There's this one video where I think this is in China though. I don't think it's Japan. But there's this dude and he's got a hoodie on and like an Iron Man mask.
Oh,
and he pops up behind this old couple and they're like, oh, whatever. And then he pulls his mask off and it's a black dude and they're like, oh, it scares them way more than just
I've seen
somebody.
That's been in some Try Not to Laugh videos we've done.
And I'm just like, what the fuck?
Dude, you'd be surprised. You would be very surprised the shit that
it's just a different culture. It's just a different culture.
I just remember that one. It was I think it's Disneyland in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
They have a Disneyland in Japan. This one guy's filming it. Just a crowd walking by. All of a sudden, this one guy looks at the camera and goes, "Ha ha ha!" Just like at random. And I couldn't believe it. I was like, wait, what? Did he know something we don't know?
Probably, maybe.
Wow.
Oh, God.
What a trippy
I've also
episode.
heard, it's not as much that like the Japanese are trying to like be like racist. It's just that they are proud of their culture and their history and heritage, and they don't want like other people coming and essentially like turning their country into a mixing pot like the U.S. is, like or melting pot or whatever. They want their heritage and culture to be preserved in their country.
Which, given how long they've been on that, the Japanese have been on that island, I mean that's thousands and thousands. That's like I think 20,000 years worth of a culture right there. Effectively, I mean, not like mass civilization. I mean, the first to really do mass civilization was the Mesopotamians, but they went out. The oldest living civilization still here to this day is the Chinese, in which they've had their culture and everything. But here in the States, it is pretty much just a mass mixing ground of everything.
Right.
And
I mean, there's just like supreme evidence of like, them being like, oh man, Hitler was brilliant because we want this to be the same way, like pure, we're the best. Like they even had it divided out to like, we'll let them win to this point and we're going to take over all this stuff. And then after they win and it's just us left, then we're going to take them out too. And that'll be easy because they're white dudes. Like that kind of talk. I mean, it's a societal thing. It's been that way for such a long time. And we really ripped the heart out of that in World War II.
We dropped 2 nukes on their asses and then we imperialized them for what? 30 years up until the 70s?
And I don't think any of that was... to a society like that, you either... Because we practically ripped their soul out the way that it happened. You either annihilate it completely, but we gave them their figurehead and everything still. So there was like a skeleton left of that society, and that's kind of just worse even.
But you got to think, from the 60s to all the way up until like 2000... they were a technological mecca.
Oh,
in terms of like their creation,
right?
that they did and everything.
Kind of sold their souls out compared to what they traditionally were.
Yeah, and it benefited and made them the richest country in Asia for the better part of like, I think it was like 2012 when the Chinese passed them up.
Yeah.
But even then, I mean, still, the Chinese are floated by like ghost currency pretty much.
And they've thrived materialistically, but like as a people and creating life in general, it's just like sad to see they're a people that are fading away because they're not reproducing. They're not.
That's true. I mean, the birth rate in Japan has dropped drastically.
Yeah.
I remember like their population peaked at like 128 million in 2007, and ever since then it's gone nowhere but down. And I think right now they have 117 million, which when you have had a 10 million population drop within 10 years, there's a problem.
Well, had like
there's a problem.
Outsiders not come in and influence that culture as badass and are like, I mean, it still is in many, many ways, but just like it would be like a fucking Elven Haven type scenario, you know, the way that they just like lived with nature and, you know, they were innovative in a lot of ways, but then we're like, hey, here are guns and all this terrible shit and industrialization and just kind of should have left them alone. Damn
it's just like the Native Americans. I mean, a lot of people say the Native Americans, you know, where would they be?
Oh yeah, man.
Well, the thing with that is, what decided the fate of the Native Americans was the exposure to diseases. That's what killed 90% of their population. And then
what a way to go out, man!
And
Holy
then
shit.
not only that, but the natives who are still here, the majority of them are in the casino system now. They actually have, a lot of them have it to where they live off the proceeds of the casinos and everything, and the government writes them a big check every month. I would still be angry as fuck with the white man over that shit, dude. To be honest, they still are, dude. I mean,
I would be angry at the white man if I was the Japanese too.
Well, dude, the truth is, a lot of reservations in the United States, the American flag is actually hanging upside down.
Yeah.
Because to them, they don't recognize the U.S. government as something that they're at peace with. They recognize it as something that they're still at war with.
I mean, to a certain extent, it's understandable.
Yeah. And honestly, I don't know, man. I mean, how the world has gone over time, it's like, honestly, it's like waves in the ocean.
Oh, yeah.
They rise and they fall. They rise and they fall. And overall, not much changes. It's just how life goes. And but the world is getting better, I feel, in terms of like life expectancy and everything. Overall, but there's a whole conversation we can have.
It's easier not to die now than it ever has been for a lot of people.
True.
For more people.
Very true. Well, God, where did our minds go right there? I felt like I was back on my acid trip again, which I'll admit, when I was on my acid trip, there were two things that happened in this episode that I can actually fully relate to. What happened with Faye, looking up at the ceiling and the ceiling like extending and just like everything looking so much bigger than what it was. And then Jet sitting there having a full conversation with his bonsai trees. Going back to me having that full conversation with that Chevy Silverado in the middle of the field. Just sitting on my ass in front of it, just like, so what are you doing right now? That's cool. Yeah.
Mine I don't think was quite that weird, but he might be able to tell you better than I could because I was the one on acid. So, I mean, you remember if I did anything really weird?
I don't remember you doing anything too weird.
Well, I did too much my second time. My first time I did like 1 drip in the sugar cube, which wasn't bad. Second time I did 5 drips.
Oh, shit.
Dude, I was not good. My friend said that, Froggy said that he saw me out sitting in the field and he thought like I was crying or something. He comes up to me and he grabs me on the shoulder and I look at him like, what's up, man? And he's just like, you all right, Nate? You've been out here for a while. He's like, I was just talking with someone out here, man. And he's like, "Were you talking to the truck?" And he's just like, and I'm like, I think. He said I wasn't making any sense, so he brought me back to the house, sat me down on the couch, and just let me like lay my head back like this. And he had Miller look after me the rest of the night because Miller was drunk and he was waiting on his girlfriend to get there, but. He said, "Miller, just look after Nate for a while, all right?" And I'm just Miller said the whole time, I looked over at him, and all I would do was this. I'd just look over him, and I'd go. And then, like, 5 minutes later, look at him again and go. Like, I'd forget that I already done that to him. And Miller said he was cracking up the whole time because every now and again, he'd look over at me, and whenever I'd do the thing, like, hey, he'd go like, he'd always do something different. He'd always just be like that, or like, just like flip me, just to fuck with me a little bit.
I've never done it, dude.
Don't.
The main parts that I remember are, I was like, "Hey, the bush is breathing," and then I remember seeing like the trees up next to the road, and I was like, "They look like they're walking along the sides of the road." You know, they look like these dark figures, like going.
Damn, that would be crazy.
And I remember being like, "Hey, can I climb out my sunroof?" And they're like, "Yeah, go for it, man. It's your car." And I was like, "Cool." And so I climbed out of my sunroof. And I watched the paint melt off of our buddy Charlie's apartment wall.
Yeah.
And he had one of the little globes that has the electricity in it that you can touch, and it follows your fingers. And I slapped it too hard, and they're like, "Easy, don't slap it too hard." I was like, "Sorry, it's just really cool."
Yeah, I remember looking up at the lights and like the light expanding out into like a kaleidoscope almost, and then it melted into a tie-dye thing, and I was just like, "Oh man." It was trippy, man. It was trippy. Much different trip than the weed I was smoking. Because whenever I went to Frogs, I was either drinking or smoking weed. That's all I did. And then, someone offered me some acid, and I'm just like, fuck it.
Sometimes it's what you gotta do.
I worry that
acid is not a good drug to just be like, fuck it about.
Yeah, probably.
You kind of have to plan it ahead of time and be like,
yeah.
do I have nothing to do for the next 12 hours? Am I able to stay in a safe location for the next 12 hours?
Well, it just depends on how old you are. Like, we pulled that off at least 3 or 4 times.
Dude, I woke up from my acid trip the thirstiest I've ever been in my entire life. I walked into Froggy's kitchen. I poured me a full glass of water, downed it, filled it up again, and drank it half of the way down. I'm just like,
damn, that must have had some ecstasy in it too.
Maybe, I don't know.
The only bad part about it, I remember, was the fact that it got to be I think probably 9 or 10 in the morning, and I was feeling physically exhausted, and I wanted to go to sleep, but my mind wouldn't stop keeping me awake. Yeah. Basically, I still was mentally awake, and that got real old because I was like, man, I just want to fucking sleep, and I can't.
Yeah,
that's real too. That's real. God. So I think we've all had our moments where it's just been like, what did I just do? Yeah, I think Chad had one whenever he got drunk at my old house.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and he started bitching about Lil Wayne and started bitching about all this other shit, and he tried to punch my door open.
Didn't work.
No, it didn't work. And I remember he yacked in the front yard. And
oh no! See, I chugged 2 bottles of Mad Dog within 20 minutes.
Oh,
yeah,
shit.
And there was these. Yeah. And there was nothing but
even chug one of those in 2 minutes.
There was just this gigantic red puddle in my front yard, and I was just like, "Oh man!"
I cussed out his neighbor, who's an old lady.
Yeah, get the fuck back in the house.
She came out. What's going on out here? Get the fuck back in your house.
Oh, that was a good night.
Just super drunk, dumbass me, 18 years old.
I remember that, yeah. God, dude. So long ago.
That's awesome.
Holy shit.
Sorry, old lady. I would not do that to you now, I promise.
Well,
I know how to handle my shit now.
You remember Anthony, our former drummer, the first drummer in Porno Arcade? We actually he actually called me up when I was 21 and he was still under to go in and buy him shit at the ABC store. And I'm like, I'm not going to trade with you out here in the fucking parking lot of the ABC store, man. Let's drive somewhere. And then we drove somewhere, and then I passed it over, and I was just like, you getting it? He's just like, yeah, man, yeah, I just need this for tonight, man. I got a girl coming over, and she really wanted this. And I'm like, that's fine, dude, it's fine. And it was like that hypnotic shit, that shit.
Jesus.
Yeah. And I was just like, all right, dude. And yeah, he called on me like 2 or 3 more times to do it. And I'm just like, fuck it. If he's going to pay me money to buy him booze, I don't mind. That's me contributing to the delinquency of a minor, which statute of limitations ran out on that a while ago. So me confessing now, it's a lot like OJ confessing to murdering his wife.
If I had done it, the book he wrote, if I had did it, this is how I would have done it.
And one of those ways is
really?
Exactly how it friggin' happened.
It's like, really, dude?
You ass.
Well, the way the book cover shows up, too, it looks like he just says, I did it.
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
Gosh.
Ridiculous.
Fucking ridiculous.
Now he's all over Twitter.
Yeah, he's back on Twitter now. I actually heard one day he got on there and he said, so, y'all want to see another Naked Gun movie? Leslie Nielsen's dead, man.
Yeah,
and so's Fred, the guy who played Fred. George, God, I forget his name now. I don't know. But, yeah. Okay, well, I don't know where the hell this conversation went, but it went somewhere. And we hope that you enjoyed the trip that eventually led to where we are now. If y'all are watching this on YouTube,
if you will.
Yes, indeed. But was it a good trip? Let us know in the comment section down below. And also, if you want to see more from us and you want to see the full episodes of this, if you're watching this on YouTube, feel free to click the link down below in the description to take you to our Patreon, our Patreon, where if you help support us on there and help pay for this man editing all the videos and everything, then you'll be able to see the full version of this. And if you're watching the full version of this, hello, you generous fellows and fellettes out there. We appreciate everything that you do. Really, thank you. And I guess until next time, everybody. Signing off. I am Nate.
I'm Andrew.
I'm Chad.
I'm Nick. See ya, Space Cowboy.
Damn it. You beat me to it every time.
Yep.